Greetings! Today, for your viewing pleasure, I have a really cool vintage cell phone to show you. This is my Motorola 2900 bag phone, and it was made in 1994. Sprint Cellular was the carrier of the phone, so I'll go ahead and open it up here. There it is. I bought this on eBay several years ago, 6 or 7 years ago. I paid $3 for it, but I remember shipping was like $25 to Canada, so I did pay a little bit for this phone, but not bad. And as you can see here, it is in pretty much perfect condition. It was perfect when I first got it, but here, 6 or 7 years later, it has deteriorated a bit. Some of the rubber has decided to flake off of the where the cord comes into the handset, but that's alright, I don't mind that. And if it ever gets severe, I actually have 2 spare handset cords. You just open the handset up and it's a little plastic connector that clips into the circuit board, and you can just take that out and change the cord. So, yes, this is a very nice phone. The 2900 was a very common model of Motorola bag phone. About half of them that I've seen came in this case. This case was called the Attache, or however you pronounce it, Attache carry case. One of the fancier bag phone cases I've ever seen. It has a pocket here. It has a pocket here where the documentation fits, which I'll show you in a moment. And it has a smaller little pocket in the back there. Has a place where a pen, or I suppose the antenna, could go. Then you have the pouch where the transceiver and the optional battery would go, and then of course the handset over here. Like I said, the 2900 was a very common model. However, this one is quite notable in that it has a color LCD display. I used to call this rare. I don't think it's rare anymore. It's definitely not as common as the standard black and white LCD display. I'll tell you this, these days, out of all the 2900s I see on eBay, about half of them have the black and white LCD display, and about half of them have the color display. But on all Motorola bag phones in general, I would say perhaps only 15 or 20% of them have the color LCD display. So I think it's really nice to have a phone like this, because it is slightly uncommon. So, take a look at the documentation it came with here. We have the original owner's manual, which actually specifies color LCD display. If this was the black and white version, it would show it on the graphic here, because the display would be white instead of black, and it would just say LCD display. So, we got the manual. It is copyrighted 1994. Yeah, right here, 1994. Because copyright dates don't always tell you very accurately, I have had the transceiver taken apart so I could look inside it, and all the chips are dated 1994. So no question there. It came with the number assignment module programming guide. The number assignment module is basically some flash memory, or perhaps erasable programmable ROM, where technical data would be stored, such as you know, pertaining to the network the phone would have been activated on, such as the system ID and the paging channel and all sorts of technical stuff like that. So this is the guide that tells you how to get into the number assignment module programming mode, and then all the different settings and what they mean. I'm going to be making a video that describes not only how to get into the number assignment module on analog Motorola cell phones, but that video will also explain how to get into the test mode as well, which I don't think many people know about. Motorola's analog, and actually their TDMA cell phones too, have a special test mode that you can get into, and you can do some really low level hardware and firmware programming on them, which is really cool. And then finally, we have the installation manual if you were to install it into a car, and I think it talks about the bag as well. There's the optional battery. This phone did not come with a battery. And, you know, optional stuff like the AC adapter and the hands-free microphone and all that stuff, and then stuff about how to install the parts into the bag. Oh, Didn't even notice that. It has these things here, so you can put a little book if you want. Very, very cool. Be sure to charge the batteries for at least 10 hours. Lead acid batteries, gotta love them. How to loop it through a seatbelt. Motorola was they really wanted to make sure that the user knew how to safely attach the phone if you were using it in a car, hooking it up through the loop on the case with the seatbelt or whatever. And then, of course, how to hang up the handset and stuff. And, ooh, here comes the technical stuff. How to wire the transceiver to the ignition sense and the auxiliary alert if you had that set up, and a hands-free microphone and speaker. Lots of fun stuff there. So there's all the documentation, and then here's a little talkie here, which I think, yeah, years and years ago I wrote down the security code and the lock code for the phone. That's actually not for this particular transceiver, that's for another transceiver I use with this phone. Here it is right here. This is a Motorola 4500 bag phone transceiver. This is actually the transceiver I use with this phone because it has more features than the 2900. But the 2900 and 4500 are completely handset compatible. You can put a 2900 handset on a 4500 transceiver and vice versa, and they will work absolutely fine. But yeah, for now I have the 2900 transceiver in here, which I'll demonstrate with. So I'll open it up here, and there's the transceiver, black in color, and the power header. Here's the antenna that it came with, just like that, and the power cord. So I will turn this on right now. Okay, I have some video problems here. I had to switch to my other camera because the camcorder, I think it must be picking up the infrared radiation from the incandescent display backlight, because the display looked like it was glowing bright white, so you couldn't really see it. But this camera does alright, but at the same time, this camera is not very good at focusing close up, even in macro mode, so as you can see, I've had to put manual focus on and adjust it myself, so it works best close up. So I have the phone plugged in, we'll turn it on here. There it is. We have 3 one-touch dial keys here where you can store a number in them, and they're called turbo dial keys in the documentation, and you just hold the button down to dial the number. And of course that tone is because we're not getting service. And of course there's a bunch of different locations where you can store numbers. I believe the 2900 supports up to like 100 of them or something, or maybe it's just 30. Either 30 or 100, I forget. And I'm too lazy to look at the manual, but anyway. To dial a number, say to dial the number stored in location 1, you just hold the 1 button down. We can look and see, I don't know if I have a number stored in any of the locations or not. I'll look at number 1, so we can see if there's a number stored in location 1 by pressing recall 01. Well, I guess that explains that. So, this has pretty much basic functions of any most bag phones. To check the battery life, we can press function 4. This doesn't have a battery in it, but it will still show a battery meter as a function of the voltage coming in through the cigarette lighter of my jumper pack. So there's my jumper pack's voltage. I guess I should charge it up. The battery's not very good anymore, so it doesn't take much to run it down. We have up and down buttons here to adjust the volume. When the handset's hung up, it'll adjust the volume of the loudspeaker. If we press function and then the arrow keys, it'll adjust the ringer volume. And of course, like I think all bag phones, this one has the classic bag phone ringtone that sounds like this. As a kid, I heard that ringtone a lot, because not only did Dad have a bag phone, his job also had several bag phones, so I was exposed to many of them, and I attribute that to why I love them so much today. So, function 1 can display the feature menu, where we can set options and use the arrow keys to scroll through the features. The indicator at the far left is a box, as you can see, when that feature is a yes, such as signal meter off here is yes, I want it off, or flat when it's no. 1 minute beep, beeps every minute you're in a call. Automatic timer display, it displays a timer during and after a call. Silent scratch pad, which as you can see of course is a no. Ringer silent, no. Keypad silent, no obviously. Automatic answer, answers after I think 2 rings. Automatic lock, it's locked when you turn it on. Theft alarm, if that is activated and someone and the phone is locked and someone tries to unlock it and they put the wrong code in, I think like 5 times, it'll automatically call the number stored in location 9. Turbo dial, says turbo off. Yes, that makes no sense because the turbo dial keys do work. So that feature is to turn off so you can't dial using the turbo dial keys, but I don't know why it's turned off because it still works when I press the button. Emergency off, that would be to use, I think if you hold down the 9 key it dials 911 or something like that. Hang up for HF, if that is turned on, then when you hang up the phone it doesn't end the call, it just switches to hands-free mode. Name preferred, when that's turned on and you recall a number stored in memory, it'll give you the name instead of the number. Let's turn that off by pressing clear. And let's see what the number I had stored in that location called crap is. And that answers that. So back to the feature menu here. Hands-free preferred. That means if you answer a call, it'll automatically go into hands-free mode. Extended talk, if that is turned on, then the phone will limit its power output to 0.6 watts instead of 3 watts, thus saving battery life. Call screening, meaning that if you get a call, it'll tell you it has a call, but it won't ring or anything. And that's it. Other functions here, if we press function 5, that locks the phone. Oh, you have to hold it. There you go, and it says locked. And I think the lock code's 123. Nope. Then it must be 587. No. Okay, this is one of those times, and if you don't know, any analog Motorola phone, whenever you set something, like if you set a setting or you lock it, those variables won't be permanently stored in memory until you actually power the phone off. So if you do something like accidentally lock the phone and you don't know the unlock code, like my situation right now, do not turn it off. Just disconnect it from power, and the phone will forget everything that has been done to it. So I'll plug it back in here. And there, we're good. Now, I wonder what the unlock code is now, because I would have set it. Oh, it's 585. Let's try that. Oops. Hey, there we go. Other functions here, if we press recall asterisk, we can set whether to allow it to roam or whatever. The standard setting is this, called standard, and press store. And recall pound is the telephone number that's programmed into it, into the number assignment module. There's the length of the last call. Oops. There's the resettable call timer. 1 minute has been used on this phone since it was last reset. And there's the timer for the entire life of the phone. That's how many minutes this phone has been in use its entire life. So not too much use on this phone, which is pretty nice. And that's about it. So what I'll do now is I will hook this thing up to the 4500 transceiver and we will look at that. Now, one of the many reasons I like the 4500 transceiver over the 2900 is that the startup is a lot cooler. This phone, of course, has an alphanumeric display with extra characters in the digits, so to make it easier to make letters and stuff. But the 2900 transceiver only makes 8s when the phone turns on. However, when the 4500 turns on, it lights every single character in the display. So I'll turn it on here and you'll see. It looks very cool. So otherwise the same. Function 4 for battery. There's our battery meter. Function 5 to lock. Where is this? The 4500 transceivers from 1998. It has the newer firmware that Motorola started to use on the bag phones in I think around 1995 or 96. And one of the features of that new firmware was that instead of immediately locking when you press function 5, it actually asks you if you want to lock. We press function 5. Oops, we gotta hold it. And it says lock. And we can press store. And it's locked. And I happen to know that the unlock code's 123. Oh, no it's not. This must be 587. There it is. So yeah, same thing, volume keys work, function and volume to adjust the ringer. I forgot to mention that when the handset's off the hook, and you press the up-down keys, it adjusts the the earpiece volume. So there's that. Turbo dial keys work the same, except the phone emits, part of the new firmware was that it emits a higher pitched tone once the call is initiated. So that's pretty nice. Oh, another part of the new firmware is that the phone actually has 9 different ringtones to choose from instead of just the one. Luckily though, one of the ringtones is the classic Motorola bag phone ringtone, which is very nice. So I'll go through the feature menu here. Signal meter off. Oh yeah, instead of the character at the far left indicating yes or no, it just says on or off here. Individual timer in a call. Scratch pad tone. Ringer style. I'll go through all the ringers right now. So if we press clear, that's the 9th ringtone, the classic Motorola bag phone ringtone, which of course is my favorite, so I have it set as such. So I'll go through all the others here. So there's all them, so I'll set it back on the 9th ringer. And instead of store, you press clear to set a setting. It says ringer 9 set. You'll notice that the classic ringtone in the newer firmware is actually slightly higher pitched than the one ringtone in the older firmware. That's kind of interesting. So we'll keep going through the features. Oops, I gotta go through the menu again. Ringer on or off. Keypad tone on or off. Automatic answer. Multi-key answer. Press multiple keys to answer. Automatic lock when you turn it on. Theft alarm. Turbo dial. Emergency call. Hands-free automatic. No switch, meaning that it'll end the call when I hang it up instead of switching to hands-free mode. Name preferred when you recall a memory location. Call receive, you can turn it off and it just screens them. Instead, extended talk. Hands-free preferred. Remind me. Oh yes, another feature of the new Motorola bag phone firmware is that if you missed a call or you got a voicemail or something, the phone actually had the brains to actually tell you that. And that's a pretty nice feature. Many newer Motorola bag phones actually have a dedicated message button that you can press to look at messages. PIN inactive, something to do with your service provider, a PIN number. And there we go. Alright, that's about it for my Motorola 2900 bag phone from 1994 with the slightly uncommon color LCD display. And you've seen it run with both the 2900 transceiver and the newer and more featured 4500 transceiver. I really like this phone. Like I said, I've had it for years. Motorola bag phones are my favorite of all the vintage Motorola phones. And I'm just really glad I have this phone. I've always been glad to have it. So, there you go. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time.